today we got another Samurai class guide and review for Legend of the Five Rings RPG. However, this time we are going to the free online PDF, which is still on the FFG Fantasy Flight Games website, for the Mantis Clan, and we're going to cover one of the two Mantis Clan schools. We got the Storm Fleet Sailor School, a Bushi, a full warrior, I guess, technically, although really this feels like more of a jack-of-all-trades kind of a character, which makes sense. Mantis Clan in general, because they kind of have these independent roots, they're largely a lot of like Ronin and peasants and other people band together under one banner to become this minor clan. Sort of the most powerful, the largest minor clan probably will become a great clan. I mean, they definitely do, because 4th edition actually takes place after this, but we round the clock to reboot it. They're going to be a great clan. Anyway, the point is they're big, they're powerful, they're samurai pirates, and they tend to have, because of that free culture, they don't have like dojos. There's not a lot of room for a dojo on a ship, right? So you kind of like learn as you go, learn as you do, and they tend to be more well-rounded and flexible in general, especially this one. So their jack of tradesiness mostly revolves around their school ability. Sailor's Fortune. Once per round when making a trade skill check, if you are not compromised, you may receive a number of strife up to your school rank to re-roll that many rolled dice. Now, when I first saw this, I thought, oh, a warrior who's good at buying stuff. Neat, I guess. But when I actually really looked into it, what commerce skills do, it's a collection of so many things which in and of themselves aren't necessarily insanely useful, but together ends up creating a really great jack-of-all-trades character. So first of all, we have skullduggery and survival, which together are just like classic RPG stuff. Skullduggery is your thieving, ninja-ing stuff, picking pockets, picking lockets, stealth, sneaking in various situations. Survival is anything working with animals, so riding, that's important, but also, I guess, like taming or dealing with animals, understanding animals, knowing how to track animals or track in general through the wilderness. You can not get lost. Sometimes you may have to go off the beaten path to do your missions. Sometimes natural events or whatever forces you to go off the beaten path. You can help navigate the wilderness and survive, find food, find shelter, find herbs to make poisons with for your ninja character, all sorts of classic RPG stuff with those two skills, and you are better at them because you get to re-roll. And remember, it's once per round, not even once per encounter, let alone once per session, so you get to do it all the time. Every check, really, unless you're rolling more than one check per round. Can you even do that in this game? Or I guess like resistance checks. Anyway, we also have seafaring, which, yeah, unless you get a couple of sessions on a boat, you're probably not going to get as much use out of. There is still other uses for it, knowledge about boats or whatever, navigation. But there's also labor, which you really just have to read in the core book all the different uses labor has. It differs on the ring, and there's a wide variety. So any sort of thing that might relate to a profession in some way, the sky's kind of the limit. Use your creativity, look at the examples they have. Labor can be really flexible to help supplement a job, a vocation that your character might have or be reasonably skilled at. There's a lot of there potentially, especially if you use your creativity. And then commerce, yeah, buy and sell stuff, but also there are some talking techniques, some shuji, which use the commerce skill, especially from the water ring. So there is a wide variety of ways in which you can contribute to the party and what you're doing, which is really nice. And also combat. Let's talk about the combat a bit more. First of all, Kata. We get a free Kata, pelting hail style, and that little black double diamond thing. That's sort of your free pass to get this technique, even though there are some requirements that you don't have at this point. In this case, it just means it's a tier 2. You have to be rank 2 to buy it normally, but you get it for free right at character creation. And what it does is that you shoot at a target, or to use your throwing weapons, whatever, ranged weapons at a target. People around him will take strife because of the volley of arrows, kind of stress them out. And you could demoralize them enough to scare them away from the battlefield. So more likely than not, shoot at the big bad, and then maybe possibly demoralize or help demoralize some of the little minions around him, and that can help take them out. In that way, it's almost sort of an area of effect attack. You're not doing damage, but still, it has the same end result eventually. And from that, as you might imagine, yes, they do have a bit of a range focus with their combat. In fact, they're one of the few schools that at every rank of their curriculum, they get martial arts ranged as a curriculum skill in one form or another. Sometimes it's directly martial arts range, or it could also be just martial arts in general. Either way, at any given point, you could put points into your range skill and level up as efficiently as possible, so you don't have to worry about that. Some nice flexibility there. And of course, you get a free rank in martial arts range, as well as in martial arts melee, which also is part of your curriculum a decent amount, not every time, not right away, but in rank 2, 3, and 5, you can put points into your martial arts melee, or I guess technically unarmed in some cases. Not at rank 3. And as you might imagine, yes, we do get a free rank in martial arts range if you decide to choose it. We also have the opportunity to take it in martial arts melee, and it is a curriculum skill for 3 of the 5 ranks here. Yeah, 5, 3, and 2 martial arts melee appears in some form or the other, and also martial arts unarmed, technically, as part of your rank 2 or rank 5 if you want to throw some points into there. I would focus mostly on the range and maybe melee if you want as well. Or if you want to be a pure melee person, you absolutely can do that. Just maybe hold off on that second rank of melee until it's actually part of your curriculum. But, yeah, it's up to you. Also, it's worth noting that all rank 1 kata are part of their curriculum during that rank 1. So you might want to pick up at least one striking as element technique. Either striking as fire or water. Those are their 2 biggest foci. Personally, I think I like water better, because one, there's a really great water technique later on, and if you're only going to focus on one for our combat, maybe water might be the way to go, although you can easily do fire and water. But striking as water is basically a damage resistance debuff on the target, and the way it works, the order in which it resolves, it happens before you actually deal damage or resolve the successes, so you get the benefit of a decreased damage resistance on the attack you're using while striking with water. But also, anyone who attacks that person for the next round will get a benefit, and then I'm pretty sure that you get the benefit a second time on your next attack, right? I guess you could just keep striking with water and you just always have the benefit. And on that second turn, I think you could also just switch to fire and then attack with fire while getting the benefit of your previous striking with water, assuming it's on that same target, right? And striking with fire is a status effect thing added onto your fire attack, which, because you're in fire stance, is going to be more offensive. You can turn strife into extra damage if you succeed in the first place. Which is why if you're a water and fire focused Bushi warrior type character, you have the opportunity to get a 3/3 in those. I recommend doing it and get striking as water and striking as fire, because open up with the striking as water, then follow it up with fire later, or you have that status effect tool in your toolbox with striking as fire. There's some good flexibility there. That could be for some really fun gameplay, especially if you focus on range, you know? Use your water stance to get in the best, most optimal position because you have an extra move because of your water, or whatever else. There's other stuff you can do. You can do more stuff with water in your water stance. Put on the armor-piercing arrow with striking as water if you roll well enough, and then everyone dogpiles on that person. It's great. Another reason to focus on fire, you almost certainly want a 3 in fire, is because of your health, your endurance, as they say. It's fire plus earth times 2. And the way the math works, you can either have, like, was it 4, 6, 8 in 2 different ways, 10, 12. That's how your endurance works, which, if you're creating a character and it's not one of those, you know you screwed up. Anyway, if you have 3 in fire and 1 in earth, well, then you'll have an 8 endurance. And that's okay for a warrior, especially one who keeps their distance with the bow and arrow. Though, if you can get a 2 in earth and get a 10 in endurance, that's also not terrible. Of course, you would have a 1 in void, unless you, right? I don't think you can. Can you get anything less than the 3 in water? No, you're getting a 3 in water whether you like it or not with this one, unless you come from a different clan. So, you might make it harder to level up because you would have to put points into void to raise up your limit to where eventually you could raise up your rings, because it's based off of your void and your lowest ring together. Really though, I think a 3 fire, 3 water, 2 void build, if you can make that work, is probably the way to go. We get Flowing Water Strike as part of a rank 2 curriculum, which, as you might guess from the badge, it's normally a rank 3, but we can buy it early. I really like this technique because what it does is it allows you to attack at range 0 to 2, even if the weapon range doesn't normally allow you to attack there, which means, because it's a general kata and not attached to any particular weapon, it's just martial arts in general, you could take a weapon that's normally shorter range, range 0 or range 1, and turn it into a, what is it, katana range is range 2, I think? And then like hand-to-hand or knives is range 0, maybe, or something. Doesn't matter. The point is, you can stab farther with your weapons. That's what matters, right? But also, certain range weapons, they have a minimum range. You can't shoot at shorter ranges, right? And so that might help you in this regard, where you can turn a range attack into a sort of a point-blank range when you normally couldn't attack with it. Don't move out of the way, instead just attack with this. And also, what it does is that it's a really great bleeding attack. You can add a bleeding effect onto your attack, and potentially how well they roll, you can do some pretty solid damage, which I just really like this. It's neat. It really brings to life a flexible kind of warrior, which makes sense for this character. We also get Asanobo's Boast early on as part of our Rank 2 curriculum. I'll let you read it, but you can brag before you do a thing. You can read that, decide if it's worth taking as part of that curriculum to get it early, and Skulk in Rank 1 is worth checking out because, as you might have guessed from the ninja star next to it, it is a shinobi technique. It's kind of stealthy, and because it's shinobi, you're not going to get access to it at any other point in the game. While you're in Rank 1, buy it or forget it forever. As far as free skill ranks, yeah, you definitely want at least one combat skill, your Bushi type, whatever your preferences, maybe both of those, ranged and melee. And really, we get to pick 5 of the 7. So what 2 skills don't I want? Well, ones that you might want to consider. Games deals with talking, though I think that tends to be more air-focused, and you might not have a decent air. There are some air shuji, I think, that focuses on games. Commerce, though, we do get a free rank of it earlier from our family, but it can't hurt to have another rank in it, right? Because ranks get more expensive, so if you can double up on free ranks, you're kind of saving points. So you might want to get another one, especially if you have a talking focus with the water techniques, which... Oh, we get a free one. The rank 1 All in Jest. You get that for free if you want. Basically, you cannot lose honor if you insult someone to their face or try and manipulate, like use their greed, lust, laziness against them. You can do that without losing honor, and so manipulate people in that regard. There's also Tributaries of Trade, which is not part of our curriculum until rank 3, but you might want to get it beforehand. What it does is you can just pull out an item from you. For my Star Wars players, this is sort of like the closest thing to Utility Belt, that talent, but you have to roll a check to do it, which I like better than spending a big resource. Anyway, you roll a check, a commerce check, and maybe you can pull this thing from existence. Yeah, I bought it at our last trip to the town. But anyway, Stirring Embers, the one you could get instead of All in Jest at creation, this one involves psyching up your buddy, right? You know one of their distinctions, which is a type of advantage, something they're known for. They're known for being really good at something or some advantage that they have. No one folds origami like you. You got this, bro. As always, it boils down to what makes the most sense for your character. Stirring the Embers is probably easier to get more regular use out of it. It's more mechanical, whereas All in Jest is a bit more abstract, I guess, using people's greed and lust to try and convince them without losing honor. And that's not something most people will care about as much, losing honor, especially if you're a Mantis Clan player, so I don't know. In fact, what I would do is probably get All in Jest for free and then just buy Stirring Embers early on, most likely. Also, it's worth noting that we can get a free rank from our school for Seafaring, Commerce, and Labor, which are all tied to our school ability. Throw in a combat skill of whatever your favorite one is. That's 4 of our 5 free ranks right there, focused real hard on the strengths of the school, so whatever your 5th decision is, it doesn't really matter. Finally, this school has a feature which is one of the rarer features in the game. It's also very easy to overlook. We get 2 free weapons of rarity 6 or lower as part of our starting outfit. We already got a wakizashi short sword, as all samurai do. We also have a bow and arrow. You might want another bow and arrow, or you might want a katana to go with your short sword, or you might want some weird foreign weapons that kind of, you're a pirate. Obviously, it makes sense you have access to foreign. You trade with foreigners all the time in the Isles of Silk and Spice. You get a scimitar, which is you see in the Unicorn Clan, actually. Their Moto Conquerors have a scimitar as part of their starting equipment, so you could do that. Crab Book has a cool one, a really light sword, Flysa, which actually takes a bit of striking as water. That same kind of thing, but not as good. And It's part of the equipment, so you could fight in fire style and have some armor piercingness, but a lesser version of it. If you take a Flysa as part of your starting equipment, I don't know what the rarity is though. You might not be able to do that, but you know, you could do some character stuff. Maybe you're actually part crab, right? Mantis are pretty flexible about who they take in, so maybe you came from Crab Clan lands and now you have like a very crab focused weapon. Get that as part of your starting equipment. Maybe you killed a crab and took the crab weapon, you jerk. Anyway, you get some free stuff, which is really nice. That is it for today. If you like this video, actually no wait, if you don't like this video and want to see me cover other games or different aspect of this game or whatever else, you can donate to my Patreon just $1 a month and you can vote on upcoming content and see it coming down the line with my schedules and all that. Alright, bye.